Hey guys, how's it going? Rick back here for another video, and today we are looking at the mysterious goings-on behind Kurt Cobain's credit card. Or are they that mysterious? Well, we'll take a look at it. So here is his credit card record here. This is from the 2nd of April right up to the 8th. And so before we get going here, I'll point out what a few of these details on this transaction list here mean. Under location, we've got NA, that means non-applicable. That means the transaction was made over the phone. Under response, we've got whether the card was approved or not. And under card present, was the actual physical credit card present at the time of purchase or not. So here's what we know for sure looking at these credit card records. Now, just note that these times may not be exact, but they are very close. The exact time of transactions is not always present, as when actually written on the statement here, they can be delayed by a few hours or so. But these times are fairly close, so it's not a big deal. Tom Grant, the PI on this investigation, actually did some digging into this at the time, contacted the credit card company, and was told that when you review your statement, the times may not always be bang on. They may be delayed by an hour or so, or some time. So that's the deal on that. So here's what we know for sure, looking right up the top here. The Delta Air purchase, that is Kurt buying his plane ticket back from the Exodus Rehab Center in LA, flying back to Seattle. We all know that happened. That is the purchase of that ticket. And you can see that was approved. However, that is the last purchase that was approved on this credit card. Underneath where you see all those pickup CDs, that means pickup card declined or something very similar. Now, when you see that pickup CD written on a statement like this, that means the credit card has been reported as stolen. It cannot be used. And you got a whole long list of those, right from the 2nd right down to the 8th. So Kurt has made that purchase of his airline ticket. For the location, it's got NA, so it looks like he's done that one over the phone, and then would have went in to pick up his ticket. But that is the last approved purchase on this card. Right after that, right after he bought that ticket, the card has then been reported as stolen. It can't be used. So what's happened here, as you can see on these records, only a matter of minutes after purchasing that Delta Air ticket that did go through, 2 more Delta Air tickets have attempted to be purchased, as you can see there. And of course, they've been declined because the card has been reported as stolen. So who tried to purchase those 2 plane tickets? Kurt had purchased his like 36 minutes earlier, and straight after there are 2 requests to buy 2 more plane tickets. So who reported the credit card as stolen right at that time? Well, Courtney Love said herself, right, that she did cancel Kurt's credit cards right around this time when all of this was happening. And she said she did that so they could track him easier, so he couldn't go anywhere, so they could find him easier. So we would be assuming, and she said it herself, that she was the one who canceled the card. So right underneath the last approved purchase, we've got the 2 Delta Air tickets, both declined. And then we have a retail purchase of $150, also declined. Those 3 transactions there are done within 3 minutes of one another. So is that Kurt trying to buy a couple more plane tickets, trying to get his card to work, but it's all of a sudden not working? Just like a half hour after it was. Very interesting there, the time that the card has been reported as stolen. Right after Kurt made that purchase to fly back to Seattle, and then bang, just a few minutes later, the card has been reported as stolen. Can't be used. But that could make sense. What could have happened there is Courtney is really trying to find him, find out where he is, as she says. Maybe calling the credit card company like every 5 minutes, waiting for there to be movement on that card. And the second there is, with Kurt buying his ticket, bang, she's onto it and did what she said she did, canceled the card so they could find him or stop him from going anywhere. So some possibilities there. maybe not so much of a great mystery after all. Then the card isn't used for another 2 days. We all know Kurt was back in Seattle by this time. He was back on the 2nd of April. Got some purchases here on the 4th of April. 2 both for retail, in quite close proximity to one another, both declined. Now we know that it's officially known that Kurt passed away on the 5th of April. Others will tell you it's anywhere between the 3rd and the 6th, so if Kurt indeed did pass on the 3rd or even maybe the 4th in the early hours on the 4th, then who was trying to use his card there on the 4th of April? Maybe he was alive then, maybe not, depending on what you believe, but if he had passed, it looks like somebody was using his card after he had passed. Maybe. But whatever the case there, the card was still trying to be used on the 4th of April. Was that Kurt trying to use the card then on the 4th? We don't know. Then we got 2 transactions on the 5th, one on the 6th and one on the 8th. We can assume safely, I think, that Kurt had passed by this point, right? Now, for these bottom 4 transactions, True View Entertain, yeah, they're made after Kurt passed. Not so suspicious, though. From the research I've done, this True View Entertain, this is like Kurt's people, if you know what I'm talking about, like his management and stuff like that. Travel and expenses, entertainment, stuff like that. Corporate expenses for the band, I would imagine, down that lane. So it looks like even his people, so to say, were also trying to do their probably regulation expenses, business stuff, in other words, and they couldn't access the card either. And of course, they wouldn't have known that Kurt was dead at this point. That's just them trying to take care of business matters, right? So when they get the news on the 8th that Kurt has passed, that's it. They don't try to use the card anymore. That makes sense. So several people around Kurt did have access to his card, so we don't know 100% for sure if this is Kurt making all of these purchases here between the 2nd and the 4th. We don't know if that is Kurt doing that. They're made over the phone, so any one of those users on his credit card, the people who were around him, close to him at that time, could have attempted to make those. If it was Kurt indeed trying to make them, even though the times are out maybe by an hour or so, or a couple of hours, it would lend support to the fact that Kurt was alive on the 4th of April, and very possibly did pass on the 5th. We don't know for sure, but if that was Kurt using his card there on the 4th, it does say he was still alive on the 4th. So I'm just trying to present some of the facts around this here in this video about what we do know for sure. Now, the credit card in question here, it was never found. Is that such a big deal? Well, maybe not. You don't need the physical card itself to do purchases over the phone, just need to have the number and stuff like that, so. But it could be a point of interest that nobody ever handed in the card. It just never turned up. We'll look at this just a bit more here. So we're looking at an official police document here regarding the Cobain case, all done right around the time Kurt passed. Now, the bit we're about to look at here is where Courtney says how she and Kurt would lend their credit cards to various people. So it says, Klugman said he had talked to Courtney Love and she told him that they lent their credit cards to people frequently, and she doesn't know whether or not Cobain gave the card to someone. Klugman added that First Security told them that this is all of the information that is available and that they would not be able to get anything further out of their systems. And it goes on to say here, to the SPD evidence unit, checked Cobain's wallet. There is no First card with the above listed number in the wallet. So in other words, that card that we're looking at, that we're talking about, it was not found in his wallet. There were, however, 2 other First Versa teller cards with different numbers in the wallet. So there are other cards, but not the one we're talking about. So maybe just a point of interest that that card never did turn up. Maybe someone had it, just didn't want to get involved at all. We don't know for sure. But it certainly wasn't in Kurt's possession. It wasn't in his inventory of belongings when he was found. Not on his person. He did not have the card. So as mentioned before, with this video, just trying to present you with some of the facts around this credit card. Was Kurt trying to purchase 2 further plane tickets? There's that story out there how he was getting the tickets to go and see Michael Stipe and do some musical collaborations with him, but was he still on this earth on the 4th of April, as it shows here in these statements? If that was him using the card then. A couple of details come up here, and where is the card? Apparently it's never been found, so I'll leave that with you guys. Interesting to take a look at. Thanks heaps for tuning in as always, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.